Minutes each.
Thank you, Mr. Corley. Yeah. And I welcome the opportunity to contribute to this debate tonight on the Gateway so-called Local Authority Labour Activation Scheme. I mean, it should be called the Local Authority Slave Labour Scheme, because it basically it amazes me how somebody within the department actually sat down and thought this up, to try and insult unemployed people by expecting them to be forced into taking up a so-called job with a local authority that is supposed to be an activation scheme for €1 an hour on top of their social welfare payment. It's an absolute disgrace. And we see the type of work that is supposed to be identified within the local authorities: village enhancement schemes, landscaping, tourism ambassadors, control of animals and libraries, and yet there's no training, no education value in this. So an unemployed person who is unfortunate enough to be selected for one of these schemes and take it up, what do they get out of it? They get absolutely nothing. €20 a week for 22 months in participating in a scheme like this. What is needed is what this government should be doing is lifting embargo on local authorities to allow them to employ staff. In my own town in Killybegs, the library closed 2 years ago because the librarian retired, and because of the embargo the council couldn't replace her. So the library actually closed, the services withdrawn from the community because of this embargo being operated by the government. And how can you put somebody into work in a library without training them and actually and how to do it and how to do the job and give them some value out of it? But there's no training or no education budget as part of this scheme. I had an unemployed person come into my office last week, and the first question he asked me was, how is it that in Donegal the only jobs advertised are CE schemes or internships? And that is a good question. It shows how defunct this government's jobs policy is in relation to rural areas in rural Ireland, when the only thing that unemployed people can look for is a CE scheme or an internship. Or now they have the added advantage of looking at the Gateway scheme as well. This is a kind of meaningless employment and activation schemes that this government has reduced to, and the only reason that you can be doing it is to massage the figures on the live register. Much has been made about the fact that the live register has dropped below 12% in recent weeks. But the fact is that there's over 85,000 people on so-called labour activation schemes that aren't included in the figures in the live register. People who in internships for no pay, people on gateway schemes for no pay, and they are still unemployed people, and they should be included in the figures.